Hola, ¿cómo están todos hoy? ¿Bien? Espero que sí. I hope you all doing well and going back from this break. Now, today we're going to begin at the end of this chapter, which is the reflexive verbs, okay? So, when we talk about reflexive, we talk about things that actions that we complete to ourselves. So, a lot of those things happen in English when we use ourselves or themselves. All right, so today we're going to continue learning about that. And before we get going, let's watch these funny creatures, what they have to say.
Hello, Grammar fans! Every day I get your letters asking, how does he manage to be so fabulous? But you know, I'm just like everybody else, only better! So, today I'm here to share my daily routine so that you too can become almost as fabulous as me. Okay, let's begin. Me despierto a las 7. Me ducho y me visto. Me maquillo y me peino. Y al final, llamo a Pablo para despertar. And there you have it, the secret of my fabulousness.
Billy, why didn't you wake me up today?
Pablo, I called you 3 times.
Hey, Billy, you're so right. I need to take some responsibility for my own actions. Let's go shopping. Can I borrow some money?
Okay, so when we talk about reflexives, we talk about things that you do to yourself when you wake up in the morning, when you shower, when you get dressed, when you put makeup on, when you comb your hair. Okay, so most of these things you do it to yourself. Me despierto, I wake up. Me ducho, I shower. Me visto, I dress myself. Me maquillo, I put my makeup on. Me peino, I comb my hair. So notice that these ones, they all have a me in front. Those are reflexive pronouns, okay? Most reflexive pronouns end with arse, and that's what we're going to learn today. Page 119, we will be able to see, we can see all of these reflexives and how it works. Okay, so what is the connection with the English? It says here, reflexive verbs describe actions done to or for oneself. In English, reflexive pronouns end in self or selves and show that the subject both does and receives the action of the verb. Okay, so that's with the connection in English, okay? Now, in Spanish, all reflexive verbs end with arse, like I said before, and are expressed with the reflexive pronoun. In other words, they have to have a pronoun in front, and they are very similar to direct object pronouns. Remember those? So reflexive verbs are actions that you do to yourself, and you need a reflexive pronoun. How are they different? How are they similar to others? Well, most of them end with arse, like you see it right here. Bañarse, okay? To bathe oneself, bañarse. So as soon as you see that ends with arse, you automatically think, who is doing the action? Who's doing this action to himself, to herself? Then you conjugate, you get rid of the se right here, and you put the correct pronoun in front, but you still have to conjugate whatever's left of that AR verb, which is the R. If I'm doing the action, it's an O, right? Me baño. If it's in the present, I shower. If you want to say I showered in the past, you will say me bañé. So that is the difference, okay? You have to conjugate the verb, and you need a reflexive pronoun. The reflexive pronoun is like the mirror. It's a mirror that it receives the action, okay? Okay, so when you conjugate a reflexive pronoun, the pronoun appears before the conjugated verb, okay? So the pronoun will always be before the conjugated verb, yeah? And if there are two verbs in one sentence, just like direct object pronouns, and indirect object pronouns, you can attach it to the second verb that is in its infinitive form, that is not conjugated, such as the case here. Yo me baño. Me is for yo, is the reflexive pronoun, is the mirror. Me is receiving the action. Who's doing the action? I am doing the action. How can I tell that? Because of the O, right? Who's doing that? Who's showering or bathing? I'm bathing myself, okay? Myself. Next one. Te bañas. The reflexive pronoun for to is te. That is the pronoun, te. You need that, okay? And who's doing the action? Who's doing the bathing? You are. To whom? To yourself. Te bañas. Se baña. Now this one's where you have to be very careful, because se is used for usted, is also used for él, and also used for ella. And guess what? If you go in the plural side, it's also used for ustedes, and ellos, and ellas. So se is used for 6 different subjects. So you got to be careful. You might want to include the name of the person that is doing the action, or the pronoun, usted, él, ella, ustedes, ellos, or ellas. Usted se baña. Notice here the ending, who's conjugated, who's doing the action. You can see it here at the end. And who's receiving the action is right here. Se baña. He bathes himself. She bathes herself. You all bathe yourselves. They bathe themselves. That's what it translates to. Nosotros, the direct object pronoun for nosotros is nos bañamos. Okay, back here at the bottom and the back, you look at the ending, you know who's doing the action. We are. To whom? To ourselves. Nos bañamos. Os bañáis is the vosotros form. Se bañan, like I said before. Who's doing the action? They are doing it. To whom? To themselves. Okay? Se bañan. Ustedes se bañan. You all bathe. Ellos se bañan. They bathe themselves. Ellos se bañan. They bathe themselves. The feminine, using the feminine form. Jorgito se baña a las 8. Jorgito takes a bath at 8. He bathes himself. He's doing the action. Right here at the end of the verb, you see who's doing the action. And here, you can who's receiving that action. That's why you need the reflexive pronoun in front. Se baña. Okay. Now, if you want to put that in the past tense, the ending for él, ella, and usted will be an O, right? With an accent. So you will say, Jorgito se bañó a las 8. He bathed himself at 8 o'clock. Past tense. Like I said before, when reflexive verbs follow a conjugated verb, you can use the correct reflexive pronoun with the infinitive. So you can attach it to the second verb, or you can still keep it in front of the verb, like is the case here. You can attach it to pronoun in the infinitive. You can also place the pronoun before the conjugated verb, like is the verb here. ¿A qué hora quieres despertarte? Notice that you have, what time do you want to wake up? That's what it translates. You have 2 verbs. Quieres is the first one. Who's doing the action? You. This one's already conjugated. Now, despertarse is the verb to wake oneself. Obviously, if you're asking someone, will be the reflexive pronoun te. What time do you want to wake up? You're going to wake yourself up, right? You can attach it to the second verb that is not conjugated, despertar, and then you put te. Or you can also put the te before the conjugated verb, which will be here, and it will sound like this. Me quiero despertar a las 7. Notice that the me is here, quiero here. Okay? So either way, it goes before the conjugated verb or it goes attached to the infinitive verb. Some verbs are not always reflexive, okay? For example, yo despierto a Celia a las 7. Yo me despierto a las 7. So notice here, yo despierto, I'm waking Celia at 7 o'clock. But here, if you say yo me despierto a las 7, you're waking yourself, right? So no all verbs are always reflexive, like use the case here. In other words, no all verbs need a reflexive pronoun. Okay. Okay. So with that in mind, you are going to complete some activities. Okay. You're going to go to page 120, which is the next one. And in this page, we are going to do activity 6. Okay. It says here, tell what needs washing. Explica qué necesitas lavarte. Lavarse estas personas. So lavarse is the verb. Notice that it ends with arse, so it's a reflexive verb. So automatically you will know that you need what? A reflexive pronoun based on the subject of who's doing the action and who is receiving the action as well. So for example, here you have the subject yo, I, right? So I am doing the action, yeah? And what is it that has to be washed? El pelo, hair. Notice that in Spanish you don't say my hair, your hair. You use the article el, la for any part of the body. Okay. So right here you will say yo necesito, I need to lavarme el pelo. Notice that you put the me attached to the second verb because there are two verbs. Necesito is conjugated, lavarme. Which other way you could have done it is that you put the me and you put it before the necesito, before the conjugated verb. Yo me necesito lavar el pelo. Either way is correct. So right here, Mateo is the one action, doing the action. So it will be él, right? So automatically the the reflexive pronoun for Mateo is se. Okay? So you will say Mateo necesita lavarse el brazo. Or you can say Mateo se necesita lavar el brazo. Okay? So you do this once, but main thing here is that you understand that you need a pronoun, a reflexive pronoun before the conjugated verb. Okay? So that's what you gotta do. Let me do one with you so you see what brazo. So Mateo is here, right? So Mateo, now you can put the conjugated verb, you can put the reflexive pronoun before, so you will say se because it's él, right? Remember, se goes for él, ella, usted, ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So Mateo se necesita lavar el pelo, el brazo. Which other way you could have done it is that you could get the se right here and put it attached to this one, to the one that is not, to the second verb that is not conjugated, attached like that. Mateo necesita lavarse el pelo. Either way would be correct. Okay, that's what you have to do for that activity. Now you go to the next one, which is nuestras rutinas, or routines. Okay, so here you gotta tell what your family's routine looks like. Okay, for example, por la mañana, mamá, the verb is despertarse or dormirse. You gotta pick one of those two. But do me a favor, do not leave it like that. As soon as you see arse, you know that you're gonna need a reflexive pronoun that goes in front. Yeah, and also you're gonna conjugate the verb, the rest of it, based on who's doing the action, right? Por la mañana, mamá, and because it's ella, so it will be se, will be the direct object pronoun that will go in front, se. And what happens to the rest of the verb? You have to conjugate it. Se despierta. Mamá se despierta temprano. Mamá y papá. Now here, look at these two. There's two of them, right? Mamá y papá. So what would be the direct object pronoun for them? Se as well, right? Se levantan primero y van al baño. So what you got to do is conjugate it as well and put the reflexive pronoun in front. Okay, so that's what we're going to do